Hi, everybody. My name's Riley Taggett. I am a research intern with Vision Center, and I am here with Annabelle Howat. She is currently finishing her bachelor's degree in healthcare administration and finishing up her administrator in training program at Marquis Tualatin in Tualatin, Oregon. Throughout college, she had the opportunity to work with Dr. Doug Olson on a faculty-led research project, which she presented at ACHCA Convocation. She also was a part of the student chapter of ACHCA's executive board as a secretary and vice president, which gave her valuable experience in working in leadership and gaining communication skills. Long-term care is a big passion of hers, as well as working in dining as an aide for 2 years prior to her AIT. And she learned the importance of building relationships with residents and collaborating with staff members. During her AIT, she had the opportunity to step into the assistant administrator role, honing in on problem solving and decision making skills. And she is graduating in May and wants to have a career as a future nursing home administrator. A little bit about the Vision Center. The Vision Center aims to inspire passionate students in the field of aging services to meet leadership needs of the country with higher quality education programs and partnerships for rewarding, impactful careers. So for starters, Annabelle, I guess what started your interest in senior living?
Yeah, so I actually started out as a nursing major and I got my CNA and got all the training done and I started working and I was like, I really like elderly people and the aging population, but I don't know if hands-on care is really for me.
Mhm.
And so I started exploring different options and I was already at UW Eau Claire. And so I took a few business classes and then one of my former gymnastics teammates, she was a HCAT or healthcare administration major. And so I was talking to her and I connected with some of the faculty members, like Dr. Crapo, and she was the one who kind of pushed me into taking an HCAT class, and I like fell in love with it. The slogan of a head for business and a heart for caring really suits me. My head just works better in business. And
Mhm.
so as I dove into the major, I became a dining assistant at a local assisted living, independent living, and memory care. And so I built those relationships with the aging population and just fell in love with them. Whenever anyone asks, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I work with elderly people and I love it. And
Yeah.
so I can't see myself in any other career path.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. That's actually how I started in senior living too. When I was in high school, I was a dining aide, basically, same thing. And I did that in a different community as well. It really is like kind of, I feel like a lot of people's first forte into senior living, if they're kind of new to it or don't really know what's going on with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I guess that would be, as a dining aide, that would be how you kind of entered the senior living field.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha.
And then
And
now onto residency, I've obviously expanded my horizons quite a bit in that respect.
yeah, what all have you learned in your residency? Like, what are some parts of it that really stick out?
Yeah, so the first 6 months, we go through each rotation or each department so that as administrators, we can better help them and understand what they do on a day-to-day basis.
Mhm.
So I really enjoyed my social services rotation. They do so much. I am in awe of everything that they put together for the residents. But I really enjoyed that. And currently, as an assistant administrator, I have really jumped into every part of it. So I help out wherever I can, when I can, and whoever needs help. I am still very heavily involved in our dining program just because we're going through a lot of changes and process implementation right now. So I've been helping out there whenever I can, more on the admin side. So that's been a little bit different as opposed to actually serving the residents. I definitely still make a point to be on the floor and interact with the residents and our patients and everything. Because we have skilled nursing, assisted living, as well as independent living. So kind of getting a full continuum of care to some extent has been really eye-opening to how they all interact on the business side too.
Gotcha. So is there anything specifically so far, either in your residency or as a dining aide, that has really stuck out to you and something that you would want other people who are considering going into the field to know?
Overall, I would say just be open
Mhm.
because some of the rotations, they're not going to be your favorite.
Yeah.
When I did housekeeping, I have so much respect for housekeeping. I did prior to doing that rotation, but now they refilled all of my laundry because they said you're doing really good, but here's how you do it. And so they showed
Yeah.
me so many times. So my perspective has just been expanded so much, tremendously, um, just by jumping into everything. And so I think for me, like, don't be afraid to ask the questions and don't be afraid to like raise your hand and be involved in every project because it will feel overwhelming, but also you're going to learn so much from just jumping into it. For example, we also had a car show to involve our community in our facility in our own community. And so we had this meeting like the first day I was at my internship, and they were like, "So, Annabelle, what are you going to do?" I was like, "Well, I can contact Meals on Wheels and I can do this." And so just throwing yourself in everything has been eye-opening for me at least.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that that's a really unique part of, doing a residency or an AIT. I haven't yet completed mine. I've only done internships, but
Mhm.
a unique part of that is I remember one of my internships, they had me work a CNA shift. So I came in at like 4 a.m. and then left at 2. And for me, I'm the same way as you. Hands-on care has just never been the journey for me. I kind of a germaphobe. So I was like, I don't think that's really the path for me, but I just love seniors and I love the communities. And that was really eye-opening because you know what CNAs or nurses or techs or aides do, but until you really see the hands-on, it's almost like but you need to see it with your own eyes. And I agree that I mean, going through all the different departments really helps you to gain a respect for everybody who does their part in the community.
Definitely. And you're all working towards the same goal. So to understand where each department is coming from and how they are being an advocate for each of the residents that they are working with, whether it's direct care or it's on the back end doing maintenance or housekeeping, like they still have a tremendous impact on
Mhm.
that resident's quality of life. So definitely just collaborating with all of them has been amazing.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. What is something that you would want somebody who has no idea about senior living, whether it's a high school student or somebody who is a part of the older population? What is something that you think that everybody should know about senior living?
It is so rewarding.
Mhm.
Um, I know it's a very thankless job for many people, especially CNAs. They, like you just said, they get up early, they do hard work all day, and they're with the residents all day. And the residents say thank you, but I mean they're there to get rehabbed or it's their home. And so they will say thank you, but it's just the overarching, it's very rewarding to know that you're making a difference in the lives of your residents as well as the other staff members.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. What would you say? So you're an assistant administrator currently, correct?
Yeah.
So what would you say now that you've taken on, more of a leadership role? What are some things that you've learned that maybe are different from doing an internship or maybe, not having that sort of leadership?
Yeah. Um, Definitely listening to your staff. I know we talk about it all the time in classes, but actually applying it to the professional world, there are you will meet leaders that do not actually listen to their staff. They want their feedback, but they're not actually going to do anything with it. And the
Yeah.
staff, that doesn't go unnoticed by the staff.
Hmm.
And so going that extra step, it's like, okay, this isn't working. What do you suggest? Because you're the ones doing the process. We're just the ones that are trying to make it smoother. So actually taking what they say to heart and working with it and again, collaborating with them to make their jobs easier. And then again, for the common goal of making the lives of the residents better too.
Yeah. So you bring up staffing. Obviously, that is kind of an issue in senior living right now.
You
Since
bet.
you've been in more of an administrative role, like have you had to handle that or how is your community kind of combating that?
Yeah, so we are doing a really big push for retention and recruitment.
Mhm.
I actually was involved in a external operations project where I compared the benefits of our company to other companies in not only the Pacific Northwest but also nationwide. And
Mhm.
so we have really been honing in on how we can make um, their their jobs better as well as how can we get them to stay with us as opposed to going elsewhere. We are also really pushing to um, get rid of agency in our buildings.
Mhm.
We do utilize them and we tend to have the same ones. So in terms of continuity of care, I
Mhm.
understand agency is not always the best, but the ones that do consistently work with us do a great job. So I'm thankful for them for picking up.
Mhm.
Um, but once again, if we can create a culture that's positive and people work together really well, that team working culture, we have seen a big flip in how and just how our staff interacts with one another as well as the patients. And it just, I don't know, it's definitely a work in progress because it's not easy whatsoever. Um, but I think just implementing the little things and going
Yeah.
back to what do you want to see as a staff member?
Mhm.
Why did you come to work here in the first place? A really cool thing that Marquee does actually, it's called New Chapters.
Mhm.
And so as a resident, if you have a bucket list item, if you want to do something that you haven't done in a really long time, or like a recovery goal, such as like even just something as little as like eat McDonald's,
Uh-huh.
the staff can communicate that with us because the staff are the ones that see them every day. So they
Yeah.
communicate with leadership teams and we make it happen. And so we're actually planning like a sock contest or like a crazy sock contest for
Uh-huh.
one of our residents. And she has been going around the whole facility. And so my point in saying this is the staff get to be involved with these bigger projects. And so they actually feel like they're making a difference. It's really rewarding. And it sets us apart from other companies too, because not everyone does that.
Yeah, that's really unique. That's really, really cool and nice to do for the residents. And that's actually really nice for, staff and residents to be able to kind of connect on that level. It kind of reminds me of Vision Center. I don't know if you know this. They work with or are trying to work with I believe it's AARP for Wish of a Lifetime. And they do kind
Yeah,
of a similar thing where if a resident, has something that they've always wanted to do or something like that, then you can volunteer a resident for that. That was the first I'd heard of this. So that's really cool that you guys already had your own program kind of going with a similar thing.
definitely. And we work with Wish of a Lifetime as
Oh,
well.
really? That's so
Yep.
cool. See, I hadn't heard about any of it until Vision Center and everything, but it's really cool and unique that that opportunity is out there. You would think that, more people would want to know about it because it's so cool.
It is. It is. And so I think that in addition to just the basic recruiting and retention tactics and saying thank you, I know I just said that it's a very thankless profession. So saying thank you for if you ask them to go do something and bringing
Mhm.
them food. Staff always love free food. So once a month we get our staff free food and they have really enjoyed that.
And I think that you bring up a really good point, like even so much as saying thank you. I think that like, thank you doesn't always have to be a big celebration. Like even the little things are very much appreciated. I mean, even for me, if I do something and, my executive or whatever is like, good job, it's like, oh, thanks. Like, you recognize it. So I think that you bring up a really good point of even just saying thank you so much or,
Mhm.
smiling at somebody in the halls it can change the culture and really help with retention.
Yeah, absolutely. I put together a kudos box for our skilled nursing as well as our assisted living staff, and that has gone a long ways. We just implemented it 2 months ago. So at our last all staff meeting, we presented them and we just gave them little candy
Yeah.
bars. But people really appreciate being celebrated. Just celebrate the small wins.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a really good program to have. I like that.
Yeah, thank you.
So what do you think have been some setbacks in senior living? Obviously, staffing has been a huge one, but is there anything else, or would you like to elaborate on, staffing or any other setbacks that you've seen?
Yeah, to touch on staffing a little bit more, definitely if we don't have the proper labor to provide care to our seniors, then we're not going to get the high quality care that we want and that they deserve.
Mhm.
Um, and so taking care of your staff, as we just said, is important. I also think just the ever changing regulations, that's always just going to be a certain setback, but staying up to date with what is going on. I know we've been talking a lot about like managed care and insurances. There's been a change within some of our contracts and everything. And so making sure that we understand what is needed. And so not obviously healthcare, the bottom line matters, but it also matters about the care. So they go hand in hand. We need to make sure that we get reimbursed so then we can also get the proper equipment, the proper resources that they need, the medications, all of it.
Mhm.
Um, and so regardless of setbacks, we need to care for our people. So whether it's providing the proper documentation and making sure whatever survey says, I know there's lots of mixed reviews on survey, but I mean, they're there to help and just make you as a facility and a community better and just keep you on your toes and always strive to be better. So just taking what they have to heart to an extent.
Yeah, no, I saw my first survey over the summer. I'd never seen one before, and I was down at a community in Florida, and state came in, and I was like, "Oh gosh, like this is really nerve-wracking. Like, I'm really glad I'm not the nursing home administrator right now because I would be freaking out."
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It keeps you on your toes. But again, if you train your staff, both
Mhm.
floor and department manager wise, to do what they do every day, keep it the same. I mean, I'm not going to say it's a breeze by any means, but it'll be a little less stressful. And then just keeping yourself educated on what's going on in the
Yeah.
field too. I know I try my best to do that, and we all get busy during the day, and so I know I need to make a better point of that, but also listen to your peers and I really lean on my cohort too.
Mhm.
Um, we have a running group chat, and so it's like, hey, what are you doing with this? It's like, oh well, my company did this, so we kind
Mm.
of lean on each other, which is really nice.
Is your cohort within your school or is it within Marquee? Okay,
It's
got it.
within my school. Yep. So there's about 40 of us who are out on residency
Oh,
right now.
wow.
Yep.
That
Yep.
is
And so
huge.
most people are in the Midwest, and then I'm here in Oregon, and there's two people in Colorado. So it's kind of cool to get different perspectives.
Oh my gosh, that's really unique, at least to me. Like my school, senior living, I guess if you could even call it a cohort, we're all like in different areas because we have different programs. And it's very much there's like maybe six of us. So
Oh,
that
wow.
that is really unique to me. That's really great to have, kind of people that you can bounce ideas off of and see what's going on in different parts. I really like that.
Yeah, definitely. Building that network early has been super helpful.
Yeah, that's yeah, that's great. That's beneficial too for everybody. I like that a lot.
Hmm.
So you have the goal of being a nursing home administrator, correct?
Yep.
So why nursing home administrator? Why not like executive director or anything like that? Is there something specifically that, skilled nursing is just where you want to be?
Right now, skilled nursing,
Mhm.
I really have a passion for it. I like how
Yeah.
fast paced it is.
Mhm.
Originally, in going through my rotations, I thought I wanted to go into assisted living first,
Mhm.
which I still would not be upset about at all.
Yeah.
It's a lot more relationship oriented. So you go through the service plans as the administrator of the assisted living. With the families, and obviously they're long-term care residents, and so you build that ongoing relationship. Um, which I really enjoy. I really like being on the floor with the residents as much as I can. But with skilled nursing, it's a lot more technical, I'm going to say, and obviously a lot more regulated. And it presents a new challenge for me, and I'm always up for a new challenge and a new endeavor. So I'm excited to see where that goes. My licensure exam for state and federal NAB licensure is at the end of May, and so I really have been cracking down studying for that. And although studying is not always the funnest thing in the world, I find a lot of it interesting. And so that just kind of reiterates to me, it's like, okay, I'm going into the right field. I really like this. I'm excited to make a difference. And I know I already am, but
Mhm.
it's just really honing in on how I individually can do this.
Yeah. That's good to know for me because I start my AIT in June and then I've honestly already been like, oh boy, I'm not looking forward to having to study for all that. So it's good to know that at least it's not like as kind of tenuous as some of the stuff that you have to study for school is.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's stuff that you want to learn. And if you're going into this and you're going into it for the right reasons for the
Yeah.
most part. And so although it's super tedious, I'm not gonna lie to you, but
Mhm.
it will make it worth it. I haven't taken it yet, but it'll be worth
Yeah.
it.
I'm sure that you'll do great. I'm sure you
Yeah.
will.
Yeah. Our cohort and our program through Eau Claire has prepared us very well. I'm very thankful for them.
It does, yeah, I have noticed Eau Claire seems to have a really good program going. I actually toured Eau Claire before I ended up at Western Kentucky.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, my dad went there, so I went and looked there. They had a great program, but in all honesty, I live in Tennessee, so Wisconsin was just way too far for me. I was like, I can't
It's
do it.
cold.
I'll
It's
be in
cold up there.
Kentucky. I like the cold though. I feel like I would have actually I'm a liar. I don't even know how to drive in the snow. It would not have probably been the best setup for me.
They're
Um,
getting dumped on this week.
really? Oh
Hmm.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I should just be thankful for where I'm at with no snow.
There you go.
Uh, So how would you say that you could inspire others to enter the senior living field? We talk a lot with Vision Center about trying to get people younger, like high school age students. What do you think are some ways that we could get them interested in senior living? Because I think a lot of it is as long as you get somebody through the door, their perspective completely changes, but it's getting them through the door that's the hard part. So what are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Social media is super big right now. We have started branching out into doing a lot of promoting on social media, whether it's Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of it, just
Mhm,
to get our company across.
mhm,
In addition to job fairs.
mhm,
I know that's kind of it's gone by the wayside a little bit, but like high schoolers, if you want to get them early, going like to their cafeteria. I remember we had so many job fairs in high school, and before they go to college, that's the time to do it before they pick a major. Not to say you can't switch your major, obviously I did um in college, but it's a little bit harder. So definitely promoting yourself to the younger generation. Um and I would say with that, promoting how much career growth there is in the senior living industry, how rewarding and like you actually make a difference in someone's life, because there's
mhm.
lots of jobs out there that you can go to a 9 to 5 and you can forget about it when you go home, and like that's cool for some people, but other people they actually want to make a difference, go above and beyond. So you would attract the right people in that sense. um and then just teamworking, you take initiative. So just really promoting all the aspects of senior living and of collaborating as a team.
Mhm.
Um, and circling back to social media, that is just the way of the current modern day civilization, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, Everyone is so glued to their phones. And so if you can get it across the screen, get more clicks, and that's just how people find jobs now.
Yeah, very, very true. Yeah, social media is it's a whole new beast these days. I know everyone's talking about like get on TikTok and everything. But I honestly wonder, I'm like, I feel like that definitely could create some issues with like liability and stuff because you know you got to get the waivers and everything. But
Definitely.
so many residents do like to participate in that kind of thing and they are so fun to watch. Like just seeing I mean it kind of makes you watch and you're like, "Oh wait, that looks so fun. Like maybe I could work there." But
Definitely.
I agree with you. Social media definitely is a very integral part currently. I think it's hard to get engagement though from a lot of people.
I I would agree. Yeah. And even volunteering is really hard to come by now with the younger
Yeah.
generation.
Mhm.
We see it more with like middle age to like older people, which our residents love, obviously, but having that intergenerational
Mhm.
connection is huge. And again, the residents love it. They like seeing young people and
Mhm.
youth, and it just lights them up.
Yeah.
Um, and so, I mean, the big two that we've been focusing on is social media and job fairs.
Mhm.
Um, and then even just promoting yourself online, like Indeed for recruiting and everything. And that
Mhm.
response time is super key to getting people through the door,
Mhm.
getting them in for an interview, letting them see the facility. And I'm super thankful this facility has been built within the last 10 years, and it's very updated and modern, I'm gonna say, and
Mhm.
it's very cleanly. I know
Yeah.
some people have a stigma of
Yeah.
nursing homes in the past, and I think, well, I know those are very much going by the wayside and getting phased out.
Mhm.
And so I think just like you said, getting them in the door, seeing, oh wow, this is actually what long-term care can look like, and it can kind of re-spark their interest into um, the aging population.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I agree with you. I think that the stigma is kind of going by the wayside, but I think that it's going a little slower than I think the
Mhm.
senior industry would like, because
Absolutely.
I think that's part of the problem is just people have all these misconceptions. I mean, I have one of my own family members, didn't wanna put my grandmother into skilled nursing because she was like, "I would never do that." But it's like, you don't understand, like, these skilled nursings are nicer than most people's homes, like,
Yes,
it's really just it's a honestly, I tell people it's you know, you would be lucky to be able to live in one of these communities because it is really a privilege and a luxury based on how nice they are and, you know, price is only going up. So, I think that there definitely needs to be just a change in mindset.
absolutely, absolutely.
Let's see here. So what would you say is the most interesting or like good, or it could even be bad resident interaction that you've had that has really stuck with you?
Oh gosh. Um, I've had lots of very positive resident interactions. I mean, the ones that are negative, they're always going to stick with you. You're always going to remember them or that family member. In terms of the negative ones, what I always tell myself is they're trying to advocate for themselves. They're advocating for their loved one. So if tables were turned, I would probably be doing the same thing. Like, I don't understand this, that, the other thing. It's like, okay, slow down.
Yeah.
This is normal for us, but it's not normal for them.
Mhm.
So that has really stuck with me. In terms of a positive or like funny one, I'm going to say, I'm a loud talker as it is. I project my
So am
voice.
I. Everyone's always like, you talk so loud. I'm like, I work with seniors. I don't know what you want from me.
Right, right. And obviously not most, a lot of seniors are hard of hearing.
Mm.
Um, and one that I came across was not hard of hearing at all. And she was like, you can lower your voice. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And like she wasn't offended, but it was like, okay, take a step back. Not everyone is the same, and they're human beings too. They have preferences.
Mm.
Um, but actually, as a result of these people who are hard of hearing and you need to raise your voice, I actually worked with my social services team and we implemented these things called pocket talkers. And
Oh.
so it's like a little device, then they put headphones on, and then you speak into a microphone, and they can adjust the volume as needed. So
Mhm.
you can talk into this microphone and they hear you clearly because it's going right into their ears.
Uh-huh.
There's no muffling from outside sources. And so these residents have reported getting a lot. They have more efficient communication with their nursing
Yeah.
staff, with their families. They're more involved in their care and less isolated. And then in turn, the nurses also can better provide for what their needs are,
Mhm.
because they can also communicate better.
Yeah.
Um, so that's been super neat to see, along with their TV volume gets lowered, and a lot of other residents in the surrounding environment appreciate that because
Yep.
they need to relax and rest too. So those interactions have been super rewarding and eye-opening. I've loved that.
Yeah, it seems like you guys got a really good thing going over there. You have so many cool programs that seem very unique. I really like a
Yeah,
lot of that.
yeah,
Now, back to talking loud. I feel like COVID didn't help because you had to wear the mask and literally like you can't understand people because you can't read their lips. And that honestly, that was it for me. I ever since I am literally the loudest talker. Even my family's like, "Can you please like lower the tone of your voice?" I'm like, "I can't anymore. This is just
I
so."
know. Thankfully, my family is also loud talkers.
Oh, there you
But
go.
but when I would serve residents in the dining room, back in Wisconsin, the table next to me would literally like go like look at me and say, "Oh my gosh, she's talking so loud." And I look over, I'm like, "I'll be to you next, don't worry."
Yeah. Well, it's like with the mask, like you didn't even know how loud you were talking really because you're like trying to overcompensate because you're like, you can't read
Right.
my lips. And it was like impossible to hear anyone. Like, yeah, no,
I
trust me,
know.
I'm in the same boat. Like literally the amount of times people are like, can you please talk quieter? I'm like, I can try. That's
I
literally all I can
know.
do is I can try.
I know. I
Oh my
know.
gosh. Well, Annabelle, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time and good luck with your licensure. I'm sure you will do great. It was really good talking to you.
Yeah.
Once again, I am Riley Taggets, an intern with Vision Center, and this is Annabelle Howat. Thank you so much.
Thank you.